Things that exist in nature that look fake. Okay, so before we start, I just want to say everything in this video is real. I know that's a weird thing to have to say before a video, but trust me, by the end of this, you're going to need that reminder at least 3 times. Because nature apparently did not get the memo that things are supposed to make sense. Let's get into it. The year is 1975. You are a biologist working in the rainforests of Central America. You've spent years studying insects, and you think at this point, nothing can surprise you. You've seen things that would make most people run. Bugs the size of your hand, spiders that eat birds. You are not easily shocked. That is until you're walking through the forest one afternoon and something catches your eye, a butterfly. Except this butterfly looks wrong, because where its wings should be, where color and pattern should be, there is essentially nothing. You are looking at a butterfly with completely transparent wings, like someone took a normal butterfly and just forgot to fill it in. This is the Greta Otto, more commonly known as the glass-winged butterfly, and it is one of the most genuinely surreal things that exists on this planet. The wings of this butterfly are almost entirely see-through, not translucent, transparent, like actual glass. You can hold one up and read text through its wings. And what makes this even more mind-bending is that this isn't some rare deep-sea creature that nobody ever sees. These butterflies are relatively common across Central and South America. They just fly around looking like animated stained glass windows, and everyone in the area has apparently just accepted that. Now, obviously, the question is how? How does a butterfly have transparent wings? Because when you think of butterfly wings, you think of color. You think of scales and pigment and pattern. And the glass-winged butterfly does actually have scales on its wings. They're just extremely sparse and tiny. And between those scales, the wing membrane itself is almost completely devoid of pigment. And because there's no pigment to reflect light, light passes straight through, making the wing functionally invisible. And why? Well, this is actually a really elegant solution to a survival problem, because a lot of butterflies use their wing patterns for camouflage or to warn predators. But the glass-winged butterfly just makes its wings disappear entirely. If you're a bird looking for something to eat and you see what appears to be a floating butterfly body with no wings attached, your brain does not know what to do with that information. And in that moment of confusion, the butterfly is already gone, which is honestly one of the most psychologically clever survival strategies in the entire animal kingdom. And it looks like something out of a fantasy movie, but it's real. Okay, this next one isn't something you can see with the naked eye, but I promise you it belongs on this list, because if I showed you what this creature can do without telling you what it was, you would assume I was describing a superhero. The tardigrade, also known as the water bear, also known as the moss piglet, which is possibly the cutest name for any creature ever. The tardigrade is a microscopic animal, roughly 0.5 millimeter long, and it looks like a tiny 8-legged gummy bear, which already sounds made up. But the way it looks is the least fake thing about it. Here's what the tardigrade can survive. Temperatures as low as -272 degrees Celsius. That is 1 degree above absolute zero, the coldest temperature that can physically exist. It can also survive temperatures as high as 150 degrees Celsius. It can survive pressures 6 times greater than the deepest ocean trench on Earth. It can survive doses of radiation that would kill any other known animal, including humans, hundreds of times over. It can survive the vacuum of space, and it can survive complete dehydration, essentially shutting its entire body down, losing 97% of its water content, curling into a tiny dried ball called a ton, and waiting for up to 30 years. And then when water comes back, it just wakes up, like nothing happened. Scientists have even found tardigrades in a frozen Antarctic lake, revived them after they had been frozen for over 30 years, and they just started walking around like they hadn't been an ice cube since before some of the people watching this video were born. Now, how does it do any of this? And the honest answer is, we don't fully know. What we do know is that when a tardigrade enters its ton state, that dried up survival ball, it produces a special protein that essentially replaces all the water in its cells. This protein forms a glass-like substance around the cell's contents and protects them from basically everything: heat, cold, pressure, radiation. The cell is just suspended inside this biological armor until conditions improve. And I just need to sit with the fact that this creature exists. That right now, on your windowsill, in your garden, in a puddle outside your house, there are tardigrades, tiny little gummy bear-shaped animals who have been on this planet for over 500 million years, who survived every mass extinction, who could theoretically survive being shot into space right now. And they look like this, and they are real. I'm gonna need you to look up the Rainbow Eucalyptus tree after this video. Actually, no, look it up right now. Pause this, go look, because I can describe this to you all day, and it will not fully prepare you for what you're about to see. The Rainbow Eucalyptus, scientific name Eucalyptus deglupta, is a tree that grows primarily in the Philippines, Papua New Guinea, and Indonesia. And it looks like somebody painted it, like a literal artist took greens and blues and purples and oranges and reds and just went to town on a tree trunk. The bark of this tree is genuinely one of the most vivid and colorful natural surfaces that exists anywhere on this planet. And the reason it looks like that is actually really interesting. The rainbow eucalyptus sheds its bark in strips throughout the year, and as different sections shed at different times, each newly exposed layer of bark starts out bright green because it's full of chlorophyll. But then as that layer ages and oxidizes, it cycles through blue, then purple, then orange, then brown before eventually being shed again. And because different sections of the tree are at different stages of this cycle at the same time, you end up with a tree trunk that looks like a watercolor painting, all naturally, all the time. And the scale of this tree makes it even more insane. Rainbow eucalyptus trees can grow up to 60 meters tall. So you're not looking at a little decorative plant. You're standing at the base of a skyscraper-sized tree that has the color palette of a sunset, in the middle of a rainforest, just existing. And people walk past these trees every day in the Philippines like it's completely normal, which I guess it is for them. But for the rest of us, this is the kind of thing you see in a movie and think the CGI team went a little too far. Last one. And I saved this one for last because out of everything we've talked about today, the mantis shrimp is the one that makes me feel the most personally attacked as a human being. The mantis shrimp is a marine crustacean that lives in tropical and subtropical waters. And from the outside, it looks like a very colorful shrimp, which already sounds harmless enough. But the mantis shrimp is one of the most physically extraordinary creatures on the entire planet in basically every way that matters. Let's start with the punch. The mantis shrimp has two appendages called dactyl clubs that it uses to strike prey. And this punch, and I need you to really hear this, accelerates at the speed of a bullet, specifically at around 23 meters per second, generating a peak force of up to 1,500 newtons. To give you some context, that is enough force to break aquarium glass, which is why mantis shrimp cannot be kept in standard aquariums. They will punch their way out. They have punched through human fingers. There are stories of people losing fingers to mantis shrimp from a shrimp, but the punch isn't even the most insane thing. The most insane thing is the eyes. Humans have 3 types of photoreceptors in our eyes, which is how we see color. Dogs have 2. The mantis shrimp has 16. 16 types of photoreceptors. Now, you would assume this means the mantis shrimp sees an incomprehensible rainbow of colors that we can't even imagine. And while that is partially true, they can see ultraviolet light and polarized light that we cannot. Scientists have actually discovered that their color processing works completely differently from ours. Rather than mixing colors in the brain like we do, the mantis shrimp identifies colors directly at the photoreceptor level, essentially meaning that their brain barely has to process color at all. It's almost more like reading a barcode than seeing a painting. And then there's the fact that each of the mantis shrimp's eyes moves independently, and each eye can see in 3 different directions at the same time. So while you are looking at a mantis shrimp from across a tank thinking you have the situation under control, that mantis shrimp is simultaneously watching you, watching its prey, watching for predators, processing 16 channels of color information, calculating exactly when and where to punch. And it is going to punch through the glass and end your afternoon. The mantis shrimp has been on this planet for around 400 million years. It has survived every mass extinction. It predates the dinosaurs. And at no point in those 400 million years did it feel the need to be normal about anything, which honestly, I respect. So what did we learn today? Honestly, just that nature is doing things that our best scientists and engineers haven't figured out yet. Transparent wings, indestructible microscopic animals, trees that paint themselves, shrimp that punch through glass with 16 color vision. And all of this is just sitting out there, just existing, just being completely unhinged while the rest of us are out here impressed by umbrellas. If this video made you question reality even a little bit, which it should have, give it a like and consider subscribing to Wait What, because we've got a lot more of this coming every week. Check out the video on screen right now for more stuff that will make your brain do a little backflip. And as always, wait, what?